Where are you from?
This is an Afro hip-hop soul track I mixed for a client. This is a production demo. Let me show you the mixing techniques used to bring this song to life. What up? I'm Sina, mixing engineer. In this video, I'm breaking down a real client mix to show you how we took this vibey production demo and turned it into a lush, high-fidelity final version of the band's vision. We are going to look at the foundational vocal mixing techniques used to shape the diverse vocal performances in this track. We'll check out the drum mixing philosophy that delivers the punch, clarity, and depth of the rhythm section. And finally, we'll explore the guitars, showing you how they're shaped to support the vocals, complement the drums, and elevate the emotion of the song. True Vibe Nation is a progressive Afro hip-hop soul fusion trio from Sydney. Their production is built around groove-first arrangements, layered percussion, warm harmonic textures, and dynamic vocal performances that blend Afrobeat, hip-hop, and soul into an exciting, fiery sound. This band is not an easy mix. Their productions are packed with energy and dense layering, brass hooks, raps, group choruses, and live instrumentation. Their production is highly meticulous, with each vocalist often supported by rich harmonies and ad-libs. The drums blend Afro-inspired percussion detailing with hip-hop energy and Latin street party grit. Choruses tend to feature multi-personality vocal stacks, while horn hooks are built from brass trio harmony. It's an honor to work with production of this caliber. Each track feels like a journey into a different genre. As a trio, they bring contrasting styles and personalities that are elevated by standout guest features. When artists understand their sound, mixing becomes about evolution. After a decade of collaboration via engineering, their creative direction is clear and intentional. My role is to step into their world, translate their vision, and let the music speak. Here is the production demo.
It's a struggle, but I never will lie down. We sing a manla cause we're ready to fight now.
The vibe is there, but the vocals aren't fully sitting yet in that lush, intimate, and enticing way that the mood is calling for. And here's the final mix.
It's a struggle, but I never will lie down. We sing a manla cause we're ready to fight now.
Same song, just more clarity, depth, and impact. Cinematic, deep, nighttime, bossa, neo, earth, wind, and fire feel that's timeless but also feels modern, like a hyper-analog kind of thing.
It's a struggle, but I never will lie down. We sing a manla cause we're ready to fight now. It's a struggle, but I never will lie down. We sing a manla cause we're ready to fight now.
The rimshot hip-hop beat kind of vibe in the demo is really cool and is so powerful in its own right. But it's kind of static, mid-range focused, and not as dynamic and broad spectrum as the final vision. We make space in the low mids and the lows in the intro, so the song has somewhere to go in the chorus, with its bass drop, and it has that big lift sonically and emotionally.
It's a struggle, but I never will lie down. We sing a manla cause we're ready to fight now.
Where the demo felt a bit boxy and cramped, and it had that charm of a backyard beat, the mix feels way more cinematic and that nighttime, romantic, exotic, locale emotion. There is a tension in the sonics that gets resolved with the fullness of the chorus. As the saying goes, a drop is only as big as its build-up. An essential skill in managing mixes, especially large ones with many tracks, is organizing the track order and folder structure. Each vocalist has their own processing bus, which is a folder container for that character's main vocal tracks, backups, and ad-libs. I order each character or instrument as they appear in the song, so things flow logically from top to bottom and left to right. All the different vocalist folders flow into the main vocal bus, which has its own parallel effect pathways, and then gets organized and processed as its own vocal folder, which feeds finally into the vocal master bus and then into the printed mix bus.
They keep asking me where.
With the full vocal signal pathway in view, let's look at the very beginning of this processing, which is a channel strip plugin on the singer's main vocal track. The channel strip acts as the foundational building block in shaping the sound, giving you access to all the fundamental sonic tools. And the philosophy is almost like, this is how I would have recorded the sound with regards to the final mix vision. The channel strip is like a Swiss Army knife. Filtering, saturation, compression, gating, limiting, and EQ are all here. With the highs, we can find that detail and excitement, and the high mid gives you clarity and focus. The low mids is where we can control the muddiness or boxiness, and finally the low end gives us the weight and body to match our enhanced mid and top range.
What could be meant by this? So I just play along like.
Compressing with a fairly slow attack controls the dynamics without killing transients, letting the vocals breathe while staying locked into the mix. The trick is to be really subtle in each stage of compressing, aiming at 1 to 3 dB of compression. Compression multiplies as you stack it along the pathway. Gently managing it at each stage gives you a really nice structure and control to the sound that feels musical and natural.
And we don't need reminders, they don't have color blindness. We don't act like your highness when we kill it's with kindness. Survivors of hostile climates define us, nah. Not about to list on my history, brah.
Limiting is just below in this channel strip, and like compression, a dash of it along the pathway can really tighten up and control the sound, giving it a musical bite and impact. Be mindful of the limiting light, once again keeping it under or around 3 dB. Just a subtle amount now and then goes a long way.
Canapes and champagne, and I'm the only brother in the room. Making small talk like how do I know the groom?
The gate cuts out volume below a certain loudness. It helps give some bite and attack to the vocals as it drops in and out of the quiet parts. Now that we have shaped the sound to fit the mix direction, we can stack compressors to shape, control, and mold the sound to sit in the mix tight and musical. Using an 1176 style compressor to control the peaks, it brings up some life and detail in a way that feels maybe saturated, slightly EQ'd, and driven, feeling familiar and timeless. Once again, the trick is a very subtle amount of compression, and watch out! The attack and release times are reversed. All other gears and plugins, turning the knob to the left makes it a quicker attack or release time, and turning it to the right makes it slower. But on a 1176 style compressor, it's reversed. Turning it to the left makes it slower, while to the right is faster. I try to make the attack time as slow as possible to preserve the transients and let it breathe, while still controlling it and giving a vibe. A super common technique is throwing the LA two-way type compressor afterwards, and stacking this on after the 1176, it smoothly catches any peaks that got through, making it feel buttery and smooth, but tight. It has no attack or release times. You just adjust the drive and peak reduction and just try to make sure it doesn't do too much.
Like it's something that I should have mentioned. Here he comes with a follow-up question like.
The stacking sound of a little bit of compression of the channel strip, a little on the 76, and a little on the 2A with musically mindful attack times gives it a shape that feels really iconic, confident, and translates well in the mix. With release times, the best advice that unlocked a whole new world for me was weight. Thing to listen for and feel is how the weight of the sound's rhythm is affected by the compression release time. Slower release times tend to feel heavier, while quicker release times feel tighter and lighter. Find the release time that has the right musical weight and rhythmic push and pull to the tempo of the song. Vocals are the last thing to mix. Drums are always the first. Once you get the drums knocking right, everything else just falls into place. Drums are a bit tricky to mix because you want them to be present and impactful, yet you need them to be supportive and backing to the bass, music, and vocals. This dichotomy is balanced out in the song with a few techniques that allowed us to realize the vision of the drum sound for the final version of the mix. True Vibe Nation are known for their bare necessities parties, where they play a wide variety of world music street party vibes. And a lot of that stuff has really hard drums that slam and bang with saturation, impact, and bite. Also with this song, the vision was for the drums to feel very real and natural with a drum kit, which was different to the rimshot hip-hop beat vibe in the production demo. Weak lint drums will always let the song down. There are techniques you can use to make sure they hit right. Parallel compression. This is where a parallel track is used on the kick and snare and heavy compression is applied. The original natural track is preserved, while we can subtly blend in a highly compressed version alongside, allowing you to have a balance of both of the vibes. This gives you this depth and fullness, where the original dynamics are present but the excitement, detail, and body of the compressed version are blended to taste. This is a very powerful technique that can give a three-dimensionality to the drums, where they hit hard but are not obnoxiously crushed and slammed. The guitars are the central melodic element in this song. It's the hip-hop sample that the beat and the flow is crafted around. With the drums and vocals being so bombastic, the guitar has to be enhanced to fit in the context to the new levels. Have a listen to the recorded guitar sound. It's really pretty and it has a lot of charm to it. Now let's hear where we landed with this in the mix. As you can hear, it really pops. It's not as dark and muddy as it was before. The melody can now be heard alongside all the other exciting things going on. Let's check out what we did with it. We started with some EQ, compression, limiting, and saturation on the channel strip, bringing that brightness through. Transient designer so we can bring some attack of the strings, so we can get that articulation. 1176 style compressor makes it a bit more drivey and energetic. 2A brings the weight. C6 controls the muddiness and evens out the mid-range harshness. Oven brings some harmonic richness and color. Doubler brings width and modulated movement to make it feel more romantic and like a record. BBD delay gives a wavy rhythm to the notes that bounce to the beat. Brainworks delay is bringing a slapback vibe that helps the guitar pop out of the speaker. SSL channel strip EQ and compression to bring the part forward. Ensemble for a little more modulation and chorusy movement. Some aura reverbs set really subtle for depth and distance to the part. And finally, some SSL style glue compression to hold everything in place. A lot of the time, I'm really trying to do as little as possible to the sound, but sometimes, if the vision calls for it, you can end up with a lot of plugins on a part, which is more in line with sound design and production. Whatever the part needs to fit in the mix. Let's hear the before and after one more time. If you're an artist or band and you care about how your music feels and translates, I'd love to work with you. I work with all budgets. My passion is to help complete your song with your intended vision. Hit the link and send me a DM or email. I look forward to hearing from you. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Questions are welcome. Let me know if you learned anything. Take care. Catch you next time.